Let's do the email of the day here on an Agenda-Free Friday. Dear Felger, says the emailer, to add to your take, meaning my take, on the success of the Chiefs and the Seahawks without Jamaal Charles and Marshawn Lynch. He says to add to that, and again, just to reset, I've told you, I think the running back is the most overrated position in sports. If you spend too much or draft too high on a running back, you're stupid.
This was a good email.
And if you put too much into one specific running back, you're dumb. And as the most latest evidence, and there's evidence every year of it now, but the most latest evidence is that Jamaal Charles gets hurt. Everyone thinks Kansas City's done. Instead, they go 6-1, and they're now back in the playoffs without Jamaal Charles. And at the time, everyone said, oh, without Charles, it's over. Oh. No, they actually got better. Seattle Seahawks lose Marshawn Lynch. Everyone says, oh, well, they're done. There goes beast mode. No, they're 3-0. Since he got hurt, Russell Wilson has quarterback ratings of over 130 every game. He has 11 touchdowns, no interceptions since Lynch got hurt. They're 3-0, and they're back in the playoffs. Examples 1,000 and 1,001 of overrating that position. So,
watch out for the Seahawks.
The emailer says, I got more. He says, the Texans have gone 4-1 without Arian Foster since he got hurt in a blowout loss to the Dan Campbell coached, in parentheses, Dolphins. He says the Steelers have gone 3-1 since they lost Le'Veon Bell.
Good point.
And the Bears went 2-1 without Matt Forte earlier in the season. They're 3-6 when he plays. He says all 5 of those teams are combined 21-8 when the best running backs don't play. And they're only 11-20 when they do play. He says all running backs who would be in most analysts' top 10 and who are also among the highest paid in their position. That's the guys who we're mentioning here. He says, in addition, 9 of the top 10 rushing teams in the league are all either at 500 or better. In short, don't spend resources on a running back. P.S. Carlton sucks. Love Zack and Haverhill.
Wait a minute. Go back to that last one, though. 9 of the top 10 rushing teams are at 500 or better?
Or either at 500 or better. So what he's saying is it's important to run the ball, but the specific running back is not.
Okay,
that's what I think he's saying, but the point remains. The Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Texans have all gone off and gone right back into playoff contention or the playoffs themselves since their must-have marquee bell cow running back got hurt.
Okay, so you don't give...
and let me further add that some other bell cow marquee running backs have caused more trouble than they're worth to their specific teams, i.e., Eddie Lacy in Green Bay. It's been a disaster.
Well, he's a big fatso and should stop eating.
No, but when you have one of those guys, Murray, the point is you've got to feed the running back. You've got to establish the run. You've got to get Eddie Lacy his touches, and it fouls you all up. DeMarco Murray in Philadelphia. It's a disaster. He's going to the owner. He's, it's a disaster. How come you don't give him the ball? Why don't you give Eddie Lacy the ball? Why aren't you running the ball more? Before last night, who else was bitching about his usage? Adrian Peterson was trying to complain about the amount of carries. So what does Minnesota?
He had 9 carries against Seattle, Mike.
So what does Minnesota? Too many. So what does Minnesota do last night? They have to feed Adrian Peterson the ball. He fumbles in the second half.
But he had a terrible game, though.
Okay. The point is, it's about Teddy Bridgewater there. It's not about Adrian Peterson.
There has to be a balance, though. I don't. Okay, so if there's one thing I agree with this emailer with is that you don't give a giant contract, a second contract to a big running back.
Jamaal Charles, Marshawn Lynch, Eddie Lacy, DeMarco Murray, Adrian Peterson,
Arian Foster,
Le'Veon
Bell.
Okay, Le'Veon Bell. I just named 7 of high first-round picks in your stupid fantasy league.
Okay, so wait a minute, though.
Are all either useless, hurt, or bringing the team down.
Okay, so committing resources to a running back is stupid.
Dumb.
Is that the ultimate point?
Yes.
Okay, but let me ask you this question. Don't you think that, and I think the Patriots are a good example of this right now. Don't you think they've taken it a little too far?
Okay.
Do they have anyone who can carry the ball?
It's not about the running back. It's not about the back. It's about their line and their approach. And you want them to run this week, I don't care if they run this week. But if you want to tell me it's important to have a running game, I don't really agree with you, but that's 10 times more reasonable than telling me that, Jamaal Charles, Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, that these guys are the difference makers.
Okay, so wait a minute, though. See, I do think you have to have some capacity to run the ball.
I agree.
Some.
Running game.
Okay, so, but here's my question then. Do the Patriots have a guy that can do it?
I don't think it's about their running. Yes, they do.
Who?
If Brandon Bolden's good enough, if the line opens
up. No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he isn't.
Is Jonas Gray good enough?
The line was better last year.
There you go.
So it's about the line.
It's about the game. It's about creating and I don't believe you have to do it, but I'll play your game.
But in certain situations, okay, so that Colts defense, that front four was atrocious, so anyone was going to run on them. And the biggest question, the one guy that's named there that should have never moved from his original team is DeMarco Murray. If DeMarco Murray is still on the Cowboys, is Tony Romo hurt?
He probably sucks. Probably is.
No. Last year, Tony Romo had his best season since 2007, threw for close to 4,000 yards and had 34 touchdowns, and had his best season in almost 10 years because they had a running game and there was balance there, and that guy ran for almost 2,000 yards. He was the difference maker for that team last year. If he's still there and the Joneses didn't stupidly let him go and they should have paid him, that team has 10 wins. Tony Romo's not hurt. They're one of the best teams in the NFC.
The odds of that happening, Jim, are less than the odds of him getting hurt, him sucking the first couple weeks, then complaining about touches, and then them getting all sort of twisted and confused and screwed up on how much should we win, how come we're not giving him the ball, what are his touches like, how come his numbers aren't as good. It is 10 times more likely.
Why is Cam Newton having the year he's having? Because Jonathan Stewart's healthy. He's having a hell of a year. They have a running game there.
See, I don't think it's that necessarily, though. But here, I just think that, no, but I think there's a happy medium, Murray. I don't think it's a cause and effect. Like, I think that Dallas would have been better off keeping DeMarco Murray, yes. Not at that price. But they also didn't have to have the drop-off they did. This is where I disagree with you. Like I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. I think Murray's putting too much value on the back, and you're not putting doing enough. Like, I just look at the Patriots right now, and maybe you're right. Maybe it is Bolden. But it's not Blunt.
All the Patriots need is...
Blunt sucks.
Oh, believe me, I think he sucks. No question. No question. But if the line was blocking, he'd be good enough. And if they were creating those spaces, he'd be good enough. Bolden's good enough. Jonas Gray was good enough.
Yeah, but some backs need more of a line than others do, right? And that's all I'm saying is Blunt needs a line. He can't run, and I think DeMarco Murray is similar in some ways because he's a straight-ahead kind of back. He's not a guy that necessarily makes people miss.
But he's being used improperly in Philadelphia. That's the big problem there.
But I also think he had a monster line in Dallas. Monster. It was a monster line. But I look at it and say, I'm not saying you should go out and spend big money on a back. I just feel better if the Patriots had a guy that could run a little.
I know as it relates to the Patriots, to me, the second round, which was what, Vereen, third round, Ridley, if they draft a guy any higher than that or pay him any more than, they haven't paid any running back other than Corey Dillon because they're smart. They know. They understand. But the Patriots, when things are right, all they need is a guy to take the holes that are there, the yards that are there, and don't fumble. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis was more than serviceable, was good enough for you to have an excellent offense with him at the running back, and he is just a guy.
I just don't feel like they have a guy right now they can hand the ball to at all. I don't. And maybe this is where in some ways they miss Lewis. Like, Lewis didn't need a great line. He make guys miss, and they could run enough with Dion Lewis. And I'm not saying you have to spend the money. But I look at Blunt right now, and I think he blows.
Yeah, certain guys are special. And, look, I think Adrian Peterson is still a home run hitter. It's benefited him that he had a year off. He had a great game up until that fumble last night, and he did. He still has those moves. That team has 8 wins, part and parcel because of him, and he's taking the pressure off Teddy Bridgewater to make plays. Same with Cam Newton and the Panthers this year. They have a running game.
Adrian Peterson is holding the Vikings back.
Oh, come on.
Holding them back. The only chance
oh my God.
the Vikings have, Murray, is to become a pass-first team. Those are the teams that win. Seattle is an outlier. This is a league that's about the quarterback and the passing game. And if you have this antiquated notion that you start with the run to get to the pass, you suck.
How's that done for Denver since Brock Osweiler's come in?
Yeah, I think that they got better because they have more of a passing game now because they have someone who can actually throw the football. But they still run it too much. They're going to have to throw it more. If they want to win a title, they can't run their way to a championship. I don't think they're that kind of team.
You can't have it go back to the 60s and 70s, but there has to be a balance there.
Yeah. Adrian Peterson's holding back the Vikings. The Vikings will become a good team when Teddy Bridgewater can throw it 45 times a game and make plays to win games.
How's that worked out for Brady the last couple of weeks? You have to have a running game.
Yeah, you don't need a running game.
Or your Packers.
You don't need a running game. Marshawn Lynch, Jamaal Charles, Arian Foster, Matt Forte, DeMarco Murray. They don't work. They don't work. It's a bad investment.
I'll tell you what, sitting in the middle of you two right now, I've come to the conclusion that you're both stupid.
Big, long, commercial-free segment of More Stupidity is next.
Felger and Mazz.